You know what's a problem, Eric?
What's a problem, Omar?
Strong people failing to describe accurately so people can understand how truly strong they are. Because to them, there's always seemingly the next goal. And to mere mortals, it's incredibly impressive. But once again, to those accomplishing it, it's just a matter of fact. I'm just one of the homies, as our upcoming guest said in today's episode. And as we had to correct her several times, you're not one of the homies, you're the homie at the top of the pyramid.
Yeah, she is the only homie in the first place spot by 3 different formulae, if you were to look at all the drug-tested lifters in the world. So, we are graced today by the I'm not even going to say royalty. I'm going to say the Empress, the Queen, the strongest lifter objectively based on formula in the drug-tested world, Amanda Lawrence.
No, Eric, and I think if you could just briefly go over some of those numbers and the accomplishments, because Amanda spoke about it a little bit once again, which is super cool because it's, again, I think she's 24. She won IPF Worlds, had a wildly successful meet recently coming up with the USAPL Nationals. She's very focused on that. But again, to neatly kind of codify and explain to the average listener, these are some crazy numbers that she's putting up. And again, at a very young age.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that she's only been competing since 2016. So in terms of like the number of accolades she has as far as titles, it's not as many as some, but she has a ridiculous total. So she's got and I love the name of this meet, by the way, the Gaines Giving Open, which was probably one of the few meets that was actually able to go through during 2020. She put up a 646 total, folks. So in kilos, that's 646. That's a little over 1,400 for those operating in pounds. And we're looking at a deadlift of 260. Great number, by the way. Anyone who can deadlift 260 kilos, there's the stand-up person. Especially did it recently, and their name's Eric Helms. And she's knocking on the door of a 300-pound bench press, 130 kilo. That's like 286. And not only that, but she's got a 256 squat, folks, which is, I think, a hair over 560, if I got my kilo conversions right. And this all at a body weight of under 84 kilos. So she's incredibly strong. I mean, just mind-blowingly strong, if you think about it. But yeah, she's a USAPL national champion, and she's also an IPF world champion. And I think she's won nationals once, and I think she's won world once. It's pretty incredible. She just turned 24, like you said. So to think how, like to put it in perspective, Bryce Lewis has really come into his own in the 105s in the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, and he's in his early 30s. Yeah. So to think that if Amanda, knock on wood, stays injury free, we might see 2 decades of dominance. No kidding. If she stays in the sport, stays injury free, keeps progressing, it could be something just kind of insane. And there's a lot of lifters out there right now who are young and incredibly talented. So I think the peak of powerlifting, IPF powerlifting especially, is still quite far away.
No, it's an exciting time, especially if you're a fan of the sport, to see all the new entrants and also to see the game changing in terms of not only the number of participants, but the type of participants, in terms of the venue, the ability to derive an income. It's all happening so fast. And so it is an absolute pleasure to have someone right at the tippity top, as we say on Iron Culture. Is one of the things we trademarked. Anyone else uses it, please inform us. Our very real lawyers in Delaware are going to sue the pants off of them. And you'll discover a lot of hot gossip here, because that's kind of the undercurrent of what Iron Culture is about, is bringing you right down to the people what you want to hear about. So you'll hear about Amanda absolutely shattering someone's collarbone, threatening another USAPL lifter that we had on before. We need to wait for his response. And then we pitched one of our videos or movies that should be made. We had many of them. We had one that was going to star Tom Hanks. Now we're going to the other Tom, the crazier one, Tom Cruise. And we're trying to relaunch, reboot, reinvent Top Gun. And I think that's a better one. Okay, I think it's one that we would want to see.
Well, considering that they are actually making a sequel for Top Gun, I think.
But is that canon, Eric, or is our vision canon?
Well, I normally decide on whether something's canon on how much it disappoints me.
Sure.
So, for example, if you watch like the Alien series after the second one, if you watch
Oh,
anything after Aliens,
yeah.
not canon because it's
Yeah.
disappointing.
Right.
You watch anything after T2, not canon because
Right.
it's disappointing, right? So when I go there, if Maverick is not the Maverick I know,
Yeah.
also I'll say it here, if they don't resurrect,
Goose
I want Goose back.
singing
I
that
don't.
song.
Yeah, I don't necessarily. In fact, I'll put it here. I don't even need it to be. I don't even need to like suspend disbelief. I just want Goose back. I want to find out that he was actually encased in ice underneath the water
Cryogenically
where he
frozen somehow
crashed.
when he went down there.
Yep. And in fact, he is actually Steve Rogers, and it
Wow.
was a crossover with the Marvel universe.
Damn.
I'm just putting it out there, folks.
Yeah.
I think the movie comes out, a few days. I'm sure you can change it in that time, CGI, all that stuff. But anyway, hashtag bring Goose back, and then it's canon.
So much to talk about. Absolutely thrilled to have Amanda on, and we can't wait. We wish we could be there. We'll be there in spirit to see the Nationals, USAPL Nationals, what happens with all these strong lifters. But it is very cool, once again, with Iron Culture to be able to participate in the culture itself, because we're all about the science, culture, and history of lifting for all lifters.
Yep. So without further ado, let's get into it, and just keep an ear out for the special secretive thing that may be coming out that has no other further description than that, except that Amanda is going to be doing it. So stay tuned, folks.
Whew. It has been said by the legendary Prince, rest in power, that something in the water does not compute. He was from Minnesota. And it seems like there is something in the water that doesn't quite add up over there. Because, Eric, when people tend to think of powerlifting centers in America, a state that comes to mind for most people would be Texas, Ohio, it depends on what you're talking about, would be powerlifting centers, right? Meccas of where people get strong. But we're going to probably have to add Minnesota, Minneapolis, perhaps the entire state, the city. We don't know how big, where this radius really is. Once again, kind of like Ohio when it comes to powerlifting, or in Texas. But we have the strongest of the strongest on here today. And that just elevates the game of this podcast overall. So by proxy of having our guest on, we three are the strongest tested powerlifters. And that's just incredible. That's an incredible feeling to share with close friends, and I'm just honored to partake in this new episode, man.
Yeah, here we are with Amanda Lawrence, who has just made us both the second and third strongest powerlifters in the world just by her presence. So, Amanda, thank you for coming to Iron Culture.
Oh my gosh, I'm just honored to be next to two of the strongest guys ever.
Hey,
Thanks for having me on.
No, it's our pleasure. And in all seriousness, we have at the tippity top of the open powerlifting, for those who are watching on video, you may not see Amanda, but you can see the fact that there are only people below her and no one above, because she is on
Eric,
the tippity top of that good lift pyramid.
My dude, we almost would say, Amanda, if, we do believe kind of in rigid hierarchies around here, that if there was a ranking order of powerlifters, you'd be at the top of a pyramid. Right at the number one. I mean, the numbers are right there. We have the good lift points. It's quite clear. You're number one. I can't even read, Eric. It's too damn small. Who's below it? So it's not even relevant. That's personally how I feel.
Yeah, because I didn't even realize at first it's not only the IPF good lift points, but it's also DOTS and Wilks 2020, I believe it is, if you look at the rankings on open powerlifting. But yeah, 3-point systems. But that's crazy. I don't know to what extent you can compare females to males with it, but I mean, it's cool to be at the top, man.
I think it's pretty clear. Over 3 different ranking systems, you have compared the most favorably. Now here's something to think about, and I think this is a good question for our audience that I want to put forth to you, Amanda. So our audience, they know the IPF, the USAPL, they're the more analytical, structured thinkers. They rate their RPEs, they write things down, percentage of 1RM. They don't miss days. Yep. I'm assuming in this rigid society that you are now at the top of, that when other powerlifters see you, they bow their heads, they're deferential, and you are able to ask them to do things for you. There's got to be some social perks. Like they come in and you go, yes, what do you need, Amanda? Is that accurate?
Oh my gosh. I don't like special treatment. I mean, yeah, to some extent, but I'm just one with the bros, man. I'm not trying to be anything, anyone different. Just trying to fit in.
Fit in at the top. I mean, it's a great view at the top because you can see everyone else. So when you say I'm just
Yeah.
like everyone else, you probably feel that you're participating with everyone else just from a higher viewpoint, a higher vantage point. Now, I do think, Eric, it'd be only natural to emasculate our male portion of the audience because we need to get into the lifts, and that's what we do around here. Amanda, please, if you could just give us the proper introduction, because I don't think some people would recognize the magnitude of your accomplishments, to be serious for a second, as a powerlifter. And just, I would say that there have been some pivotal moments over the last several years, perhaps the last decade. I remember like Brett Gibbs as an example, that 83 kilos where he was just raising the total up, and numerous other examples. And you certainly come to mind in the last decade of just what's possible for humans to lift. Just tell us about your powerlifting accomplishments so we could put this in perspective and we could really codify and rigify that structure that you don't want, that you shirk.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel like I'm just getting started. I feel like I haven't even been at this very long. You know what I mean? Like I've done one IPF Worlds. So, and that's crazy to say, but I mean, obviously 2020, a lot of things are canceled. A lot of big events were going to happen. World, Sheffield on the top of the list.
Yep.
But yeah, like I honestly, like, I know I'm currently ranked at the top, but I'm like not staying comfortable just because I feel like I definitely have more to improve, and you just really don't even know who could pop out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like I've been lifting since 2016. So we're on 5 years right now. I think I've done like 13 meets, something like that. But I've only done one Worlds, like I said. So I mean, my goal is to just keep being the reigning world champ, just keep proving myself time after time. I just turned 24, so I'm still in my young years. I'm still in my prime. It's definitely was a little bit frustrating last year because I felt like I was just up on the rise and didn't quite get to hit those big events. But they're coming back up. Raw Nationals is we're 5 weeks out right now, and honestly, going into the meet, I feel like I just have to beat myself from my last meet. So, I mean, that's just my goal, to keep on improving. So, but yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's literally like me versus me, I guess.
Well, I think that's something that a lot of lifters struggle with, because they focus on their competition. Sometimes they let it get in their head with Instagram. And you've got the unique position of now, since no one is stronger than you, by default, you only have to focus on yourself. So you don't even have to worry about like sports psychology or any of these things that we've talked about in Iron Culture, because there's no need. You're really only competing against yourself.
Yep. And don't get me wrong, I've definitely I'm on the other side of things now. I've been in those battles before. There's a lot of strategies that come around with that, especially like coming to meet day. But I mean, my theory is at the end of the day, the stronger lifter is going to win. You can try all these tactics you want, but you can't beat strength. Now I'm kind of on the other side of things. And I guess some people would say, like, oh, you could get comfortable and all this. But honestly, that's like never like has been why I've done powerlifting. I've always just like wanted to just keep like doing the impossible, getting stronger, and like proving that women can really do this, and potentially hitting that 600-pound barrier mark, sub 200 pounds. But that's like my big goal. Like I'm not even like, I don't even necessarily think I've ever been like necessarily worried about others. I just want to be literally the best ever, I guess.
Love it. I think you've got you set yourself with very high standards. You're focused on improving. And that's actually something that you can see across sports when you look at the attitudes of people who have taken it very far. So I think that's awesome. I think it's actually quite healthy. And I think it is when athletes get too focused on other people is when they often run into trouble. So good on ya is my official Kiwi advice that I give you here from New Zealand. I've got a question for you. So you mentioned you've been competing since 2016. You've done, a double-digit number of meets, which I would say is a lot since then.
Yeah.
However, 2020, like it was for everyone, was a challenge and a struggle. And I know you were able to get into meet at the end of last year. Do you think you benefited from having more time off competitions to just focus on training? Was there any possible silver lining to the inability to compete, or do you think it was more just an inconvenience?
Honestly, 2020 was tough for training because I'm used to competing like 2-3 times a year, usually 3 times a year, and not having like kind of a goal to like keep working towards, and like a couple meets were canceled on me. Like it was kind of, I mean, it was tough because you're 2 weeks out from Sheffield, the biggest meet of your life, and then it gets taken out from under you.
Yeah.
But I don't think it necessarily like, I don't think I benefited from it. Like honestly, like I thrive like being on that big stage and like competing like for these big meets, and just knowing like I can just push myself that much further for them. It's just that, little bit extra motivation. But yeah, I mean, that meet in November I did in Wisconsin, honestly, probably was some of the hardest circumstances, despite it, just being a state over. Just because I'm used to flying. I drove for that meet. Weight cut was a little bit tough, but like, I don't know, that meet was kind of just like, it was coming. It was just a matter of time. But I definitely think I could have put something out like that, like anywhere, like in an international national meet. To me, it wouldn't have mattered. Like some people say, oh, it was a local meet, like whatever. But I mean, I had to travel for it. I had to deal with all the extra circumstances, maybe even more than like other meets. And like I said, I really like those big stage meets. Like for some reason, you dig deep for them.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I also like competing. So I did a big meet myself not too long ago. Out here in Auckland.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So that's not only a city in New Zealand; it's the largest city in New Zealand. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we've had the exact same experience, Amanda, and in fact, we definitely haven't.
Yeah.
But some people are platform performers. Others, you can only put it up in the gym. But you and me, simpatico. That's what I'm saying. And again, we just want to thank you for making Omar and myself the second and third strongest lifter by proxy.
Oh my gosh, it's an honor.
No,
I don't even know how I'm present with you guys right now.
we build bridges, and it's quite a long bridge between Auckland and then America, but we're confident through this podcast we could bridge all those gaps. And I do want to ask the question though, because you're talking about basically the champion mentality. I'm half joking, but being serious, meaning the ability to cultivate a good performance despite certain circumstance or obstacles. Can you just walk us through the journey of when you said all these meets that you've done, 2016, getting into powerlifting, if there are any early indicators for yourself? Just give kind of that brief backstory, because interesting enough, I did hold this years ago. Not that it's necessarily true. I think Greg Knuckles wrote about it, but your initial gains or progress in your first year might not necessarily be indicative of your overall potential, where some people beat up on themselves, this and that. At the same time, if the first time you deadlift, it's like 400 pounds, that's a good sign. You're fresh, cold, you just pick it up. So I'm just curious about the backstory, because we're hearing a little bit of cultivating that mentality of the ability to go through adversity already. You're only 24. You already did IPF Worlds, won it, smashing these records, these insane numbers. Talk to us about the start then, because how did it happen? How did you get into powerlifting? What was it like? What was lifting like maybe the first year? Was it something that you naturally gravitate towards? Just talk to us a bit about the backstory before we get on the heroic present and then future accomplishments.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's not that great of a story how I got into powerlifting, but I mean, I was just doing a lot of bodybuilding, I guess you could say, at the gym. And my current PT, my first current physical therapist, he actually like brought up powerlifting, that I should try it. Back in 2016, I knew nothing of it. I wasn't like necessarily squatting. I was squatting actually in the Smith machine at the time, but I wasn't really benching or deadlifting. I was just I was pretty strong with just the dumbbell machine movements. Like I think I was curling 30s back then. I think I was like 160 pounds or something like that. Right now I'm like, my weight class is 185. But yeah, so I'm like, yeah, sure. Why don't I sign up for a meet? So I started training for it for like 6 months. And yeah, my first meet was June 2016. I didn't really have any expectations going into it. Like I said, I knew nothing about the sport. Like I was asking all these questions like, well, what singlet do I get? Do I need this belt, or like, I don't know. I didn't know what to do. But I ended up breaking the junior American squat record without even knowing it. So that
Okay.
first meet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my PT was actually my coach at the time, and he didn't want to tell me because he didn't want like to get it. He didn't want me to get in my head or anything like that, or go into the meet like, I don't know, with an ego or anything like that. But yeah, in the beginning, I actually did a squat every day program for like 4 months straight, that's insane. I couldn't walk for like 2 weeks when I first did it, but I can definitely say that's how my squat picked up pretty quickly in the beginning. Like I hit, I think 300 pounds within the first month of training on squat. My American record, I think, for that meet within 6 months of training for squat, I think was like, I hit 396, but it was cut on depth. So I think the record was around like 367 or something like that. I can't quite remember, but yeah, I was mostly just pro squat at the time. Didn't really care for benching because I was scared it was going to fall on my head or something. So I rarely benched. And deadlifts, I used to conventional deadlift at the time, but I don't know, it always hurt my back. So I didn't really do it much either. So I don't know. So winning that first meet, squat was pretty good. Bench was kind of lagging. Deadlifts were moderate because, if you're strong at squat, you usually have some strength for deadlift with the base for that. But yeah, I don't know. But once I got on like a correct program and stuff and actually started hitting all the movements on a good split, things definitely started to take off. I think I didn't really necessarily get on a proper program until like a year and a half in, to be honest. But yeah, I like to say like bench like now has probably, well, not now. It used to be probably a lagging lift just because I didn't really train it much in the beginning. But now I'd like to think I'm more of a even well-rounded lifter because, I mean, at the end of the day, when it comes to meets nowadays, you can't win on one or two lifts. You have to be pretty good all around, placing in the top, I don't know, percent. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I started. Once I did that first powerlifting meet, I was just, I loved it. I just loved the environment, the people that did it, and I was just hooked. So I just started, competing more frequently, and then I did nationals in 2017 the next year, and I don't know, from there on, like we just been improving meet after meet. Like a big struggle for me, like over my career, has been, trying to go 9 for 9 or hitting all my lifts. I'm not saying that's necessarily the best case scenario for how to do it, because I mean, some could argue, you left some in the tank or whatever. But I mean, that's what I'm so proud of from this last meet that I did in November 2020, because I finally was able to put it all together. I mean, there's so much, like, sure, you can hit a lift in the gym, great, but doing it on the platform is another story, and that just comes with experience, and also for me just starting to train on actual competition equipment, so there's no surprises, meet day kind of thing. But yeah, it's definitely been a journey. I mean, I was just looking at all my meet videos actually the other day, and seeing the things that change over time is crazy in 5 years.
Absolutely. And I think there's definitely something to be said for hitting the vast majority of your lifts on the platform. And I think the proof's in the pudding here, where you were already considered one of the top lifters, and then your total jumped by over 30 kilos, and here we are. So I think there's nothing wrong with going for a PR on game day if you think it's there and not getting it, but being able to put together a good collection of 8 or 9 lifts so that you have the best total possible on game day, it's hard to argue with that when you see the results. So well done.
Yep, and
go ahead.
Something I've learned from my coach. Shout out Joey Flex Training Systems. Yes. Stay in the pocket, guys. Sorry.
Thanos,
But no,
Thanos, bro.
but so I've been like, if you look at my like track record of a lot of my meets, like there's a lot of missed lifts there. Like, 6 for 9, 7 for 9s. I don't even know, maybe less. But it's because I would just overshoot the last, whatever, third attempt or whatever. But Joey, what really helped for my last meet is just taking a little bit less, leaving a little bit in the tank for a guaranteed lift. So yeah, ever since Joey took me on, I think we're going on 2 years now. It's just been night and day difference. Well, actually, I started with Flex 12 weeks out before Worlds 2019. So that would have been probably March 2019.
Nice.
But yeah, he's really been able to help, like, he's like on me for the things that bad habits, to make the corrections, whether it's grip or just, I don't know, technique, how fast I'm descending on squats or overshooting. But he's been really good and really like good with the programming, finding a good split for me to stay healthy while still continuing to be able to make progress.
That is awesome. No, and I love his work. We actually need to get him on the podcast at some point, because he's worked with so many high-level USAPL lifters at this point, and the experience he's amounted, and just as someone who does a little bit of coaching myself, just watching what he does a little, I think he definitely knows what he's doing, and it would be cool to get his perspectives and his experiences. So yeah, I think that's awesome that you have the foresight to have people in your corner to really help you reach your potential. That's always, I think, it's something that is pretty much ubiquitous across powerlifting, especially as you see very few lifters in the IPF at a high level who are totally self-coached. A lot of them have people in their corner.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Sometimes you just need someone to hold you back a little bit and keep you accountable,
Oh yeah, you're just a tiger. You need someone to keep you on the leash a little bit. I love it.
Yes.
One thing I want to note, a common thread I've noticed by the exceptionally strong is their inability to remember their accomplishments because they're innumerable and there are so many to celebrate. Meaning that Amanda, with your first meet, where it's like, yeah, like whatever, like I broke the record, I can't remember what the squat number was. Ask as an example, hey Eric, ask me what my last deadlift PR was. Like, hey man, what was the amount?
Omar, what is your deadlift PR?
601.56, because there was kilo plates, but it was on 45-pound bar. I did that in 2017. Yeah. It was October. It was a reasonably calm Thursday night. It was probably about 12 degrees, so about 58 degrees Fahrenheit. Meanwhile, you, Amanda, or Taylor Atwood. So Taylor hit what would be probably, it was on a deadlift bar, granted, but if we just take it as an accomplishment in and of itself, at least a 30, 40, maybe 50-pound all-time PR of what he pulled. And he couldn't remember, and he rounded down by 25 pounds, which is insane to me because I would be rounding up if anything. And I think that's one of the... Amanda, that's one of the indicators if you're actually strong. You don't have to talk about it, and you which I find fascinating. As of right now, you haven't even told us. But I said, hey, tell us about your accomplishments. You're not like, yeah, I did this squat, this deadlift, this bench, or this total. You're just like, yes, I won this, or it's like on to the next one for you.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess maybe I should live a little more in the moment and appreciate things that I do. But I don't know. I just always had the mentality, like, what's next? Like, what else can we do? Like, what other limits can we break? Like, there's more that's left. Like, just give me another meet, give me a little more time.
No, 100%. It's a motivating thing. Anytime, I think most lifters can relate to this, whether they've been on a world's platform or whether they just they get on the platform at 24 Hour Fitness with their hex plates. Once you hit a PR, it motivates you to think of, oh shoot, now what can I get next? So. Yeah,
those hex plates are light.
Yes.
I used to train at because I didn't have access. There's not a lot of I guess powerlifting gyms in Minnesota, so I had like my own setup, kind of where I live. Because in the cities, I mean, that's an hour drive for me. They have some powerlifting gyms, but I mean that's a drive to go every day. Sure. But I was training at like a commercial gym for quite a while, and they had those like those urethane coated hex plates or whatever. So numbers always seemed, I swear they didn't weigh 45 pounds of plates, but numbers always seemed like skewed very high in training. And then when it came to meet day, just because the competition equipment, the plates felt so different, it was hard to like replicate those numbers or like know what to hit. So I do think equipment made a massive difference in like my meet performances over, especially in the last couple of years, switching over to, actual calibrated plates and, the correct bench setup and whatnot.
Hey, as they say, practice like you play, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes all the
100%.
difference.
So I've got a question for you. Let's go way back. Pre-powerlifting for you, did you have a athletic background when you were in high school and prior to that?
Oh yes. So I guess in the very beginning, back in like my grade school days, soccer was my main jam, and then I did dance as well, like any other girl. But I soon quit that because I don't know, dance recitals weren't fun to watch. They weren't fun to do either because I forgot the dances all the time. But yeah, down the line, I started up my two main sports. Continued with soccer and then basketball as well. So those are my main ones. I played basketball up until 10th grade, and then soccer. I was actually supposed to go on a college scholarship for that, but
Wow.
I ended up fracturing my tibia. So I didn't end up going through with that because that was my senior year of high school, which I'm actually very happy I didn't, because then I wouldn't have stumbled across powerlifting. I wouldn't have been going to the gym like doing bodybuilding stuff and finding powerlifting if I was playing soccer. But those were my main ones. Like soccer, I actually made the varsity team my freshman year of school, so I was pretty good. I was always known as the girl that could I can hip check people pretty good. Like I kick the ball pretty hard. Like I broke a girl's collarbone once by accident when we both went up in the air, and I didn't fall, but she did.
Oh.
I felt really, really bad. But
That's when the
I was
tiger
just
first
known,
came
like,
out.
That's right.
Yeah. Like it's funny. My mom would always say on the sidelines, like, "Oh, that girl," like, because she's. I mean, people would tug on jerseys, and I'd let it slide for a little bit, but after a while, I'd just go off and just hip check them. I don't know. I was always pretty strong, but I didn't ever really like lift weights, if that makes sense. I was just always. I don't know. I never was that good athlete on the soccer or basketball team that would do the weights outside of practice, because weight rooms were intimidating back then with the guys in there, and I don't know why, but now I'm just like, let's show them up.
Now you're
love
intimidating them. Let me ask you, what have you noted, Amanda, in respect to that weightlifting gyms or the weight room? Is it not only you having exposure now to lifting more that obviously makes you more comfortable, or do you think there is a changing tide that is occurring in general with lifting gyms where you go in and you see access to powerlifting, more women powerlifting? Have you noticed that trend also in Minnesota, something from, let's say, what I guess it'd be like 6 years ago?
Oh yeah. I mean, like, I think in general, powerlifting is growing exponentially, like in the last 5 years. So it's like, it's cool to be able to have other women to lift with too, just because, I mean, like you said, Texas, probably California, Florida, Ohio, those are probably big powerlifting states. But in Minnesota, it's going to be a little bit more, I don't know, sparse for the amount of lifters that you're going to have in the area, but it's definitely growing for sure. And it's, it's fun to be able to train with women and not just always, the guys, although that is fun too. But yeah, I think for me, even before I was powerlifting, what made me comfortable to be in the weight room was knowing what I was doing, if that made sense. Because I didn't, so I would, I don't know, when I was doing a bunch of bodybuilding movements or whatever, bodybuilding split, I would just watch YouTube, find things that I like doing, and then had a plan. And when I had that plan and I went in the gym, I felt comfortable and, felt fine, even if I was the only girl in the area. I know that's kind of a hard thing to get over, because it can feel intimidating for women, but honestly, just gotta rock it. now it doesn't bug me whatsoever. I care less. But honestly, I think it's fun.
I love it. I think it's really cool to see you really, just as you said, rocking it. One thing that I was encouraged to hear is how you've put on what 25 pounds since you started getting into powerlifting?
Yep.
And that
I'd like to think it's muscle, but
I would suggest that based on the fact that your numbers have skyrocketed since you started, it's got to at least be some muscle, my friend.
yeah,
So,
I hope so. I mean, my guns. We're trying for the gun show, you know. I think my
Hey.
biceps are like 15s. I think my quads are almost like they're almost 30. I think
ooh, rocking 15s and 30s,
they're at least
folks.
28. They're probably at least 28. I know that.
So the real question we wanted to ask Amanda, because you said when you first started, you did bodybuilding, you clearly you know your measurements better than you know your lifts, which tells me you're a bodybuilder at heart. Of course, there must have been a seminal group or coaching group or resource you used when you're bodybuilding. I'm just gonna make a logical leap here. You found 3DMJ in 2016.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's how you got Yakety Yacked, which is something that we have coined here at Iron Culture, which is a trademark. And then you decided to do powerlifting because you're like, you know what? I'm going to do powerlifting. I'm going to win this, and I'm going to be a double champ down the road. Because I could just hear when you talk about the gun show and when you talk about the quad measurements, you're about that life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't like super freaky lean, but I mean, yeah. I think I was just, you know, I was just going to try to get, I wasn't trying to do a show or anything like that, but yeah, I definitely found you guys in the beginning. That's definitely been inspiring.
I'm not even going to question that because I don't want to find out it's a joke. It would hurt my soul too much. So we're just going to pretend everything that was said is reality, and it is going to go down as Iron Culture canon. But I do think it is awesome how you were focused on bodybuilding, getting bigger, putting on size. You know your measurements, and you've moved up weight classes since you started the sport. I think that is, to some degree, if I would be so bold to say, indicative of the changing times and the normalization of powerlifting across both genders. I know for me, when I first started coaching in the mid 2000s, it was typically a challenge to take on a female athlete and suggest to her, hey, we probably want to see your body weight going up. You know, you're young, you're new to lifting, and you put on muscle, we should probably see that weight class go up 1 or 2 marks. And that was often, you know, met with some resistance. And of course, I'm not going to tell someone what to do with their body. I just make the suggestion and then I help them do what they want. So it's really cool to see you, I think, leading the charge and saying, hey, we're lifting weights, we're getting yacked, we're getting big, we're getting strong, and you just got to rock it.
Yeah. Like I always say, I mean, I've been on like both sides of the spectrum. I've been 125 pounds before with unhealthy eating habits, and I've been all the way up to like 195 pounds. Like I've been on both sides of the spectrum, but you just have to like, you got to do what makes you happy. And like that number on the scale, like for me, like that literally means nothing to me besides like making weight for a meet. Like you know, it's how you feel, how you look at yourself. Like, you know, I mean, that's like the most important thing, that you're like happy with it, if that makes sense. Because I don't know, I remember when I was like super small, like I was unhappy. So, but like a lot of cardio, a lot of, you know, just like that. But once I like found the weights and like, you know, noticed like, you know, I think I gained like 15 pounds in a 6-month time frame training for my first powerlifting meet. I felt better than ever. And you know, so like gaining weight is, you shouldn't like necessarily shy away from it. Like, honestly, I've never even competed anything less than an 84 kilo lifter either. So, I mean, so, you know, I mean, it's whatever like you're strongest at, you know.
100%. No, I love it. You're focused on performance. You're focused on enjoyment, which I think is something that sometimes we lose as athletes. We think maybe too much just about performance, but what's the point if we don't actually love it? There's nothing to keep us there. So let me ask you this question. You've played team sports, you played soccer, and a fractured tibia was soccer's loss, but your and powerlifting gains. Do you enjoy powerlifting, an individual sport, more than team sports? How do those compare to you?
Oh yeah, because like there's a lot more like variables you can control, like just with yourself, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, if there's somebody like lagging on the team, you don't have to like go pick up the slack for them, kind of thing with team sports in order to like still win, if that makes sense. And yeah, I guess but then powerlifting, I know it's like an individual sport, but at the same time, it still kind of feels like a team sport when, like with your friends or like with the flex squad. It's kind of weird, but I don't know. Like I actually enjoy this quite a lot more. Like I just kind of, like I said, I stumbled across powerlifting and I was doing it just kind of as a hobby while going to college. I have a bachelor's in biomedical science. But yeah, it kind of just turned into something a lot more than I thought it was going to be. And, it's kind of both a job and a hobby at this point, but, I love it.
That is awesome. And obviously, with Team 3DMJ, I fully appreciate and purposefully have tried to construct a team environment for individual sports like bodybuilding and powerlifting, because
Yeah.
if you do it wrong, they can be very lonely. You can be just comparing yourself to others, and they can also be such a cool thing for people to share, to bring people together who would never meet, different countries, different backgrounds, and I think it's a great way to have that team support. So I love that you're doing it, and it feels like a team sport.
Yeah, like literally you could go anywhere and have friends in like literally any state or country. It's so cool, and with the power of social media, just to get to know everybody and be friends with a lot of different people rather than just the people in your area kind of thing.
Well said. Well said. So let me ask you this: you've got a degree in biomedical science. Is that what you said, Amanda?
Yes.
So what do you do outside of the gym, if anything? Like biomedical stuff, apparently.
Well, at first I was going pre-med because I wanted to be a doctor. I don't know whether if it was gonna be like orthopedics or dermatology or whatnot, but at the end of the day, like you can't like be at the top for something. Like there's give and take, right? Like you kind of have to decide what you want. So I wouldn't have been able to continue powerlifting whatsoever if I wanted to take that kind of route. So you just kind of have to make those tough decisions. So right now I'm doing coaching and I have my sponsorships, and training actually is a big part of my job in order to try to stay at the top at this prime level that I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, life kind of took for a different turn, an unexpected turn. A hobby turned into something quite more than that fast. But yeah, I mean, can't ever like go wrong with having your degree. So
no. Well, Amanda, I would put forth that the reason I am not the best powerlifter in the world is because I pursued my PhD, and all that time studying lifting weights and focusing on that and having constant access to a gym would have really gotten in the way of me being a really, really good lifter. And that's why I'm a mediocre powerlifter.
Mm-hmm. No, you're number,
I'm number two. That's
top
true. You're
three.
right.
Yeah, we don't
we don't discriminate.
Differentiate.
She wouldn't even let me
take.
take myself down, Omar. She lifted me up immediately. That's the type of team player she is.
It's a triumvirate, okay? It's three now at the top. It was at first two atop the pyramid. We have three. I heard what both of you guys said, like Amanda, where you said, you're pursuing this because I think that makes complete sense. You're at the top of the game. It's a growing sport. There's a lot of opportunities. Why not? And then Eric said the caveat that I could have, should have been a contender.
I could have been a contender.
I could have been a somebody, to quote Marlon Brando. And then Austin Baraki and Jordan Fagenbaum are listening to you guys like, oh, you couldn't go to medical school and powerlift, Amanda? Actually, we did that and we're able to do it successfully. And Amanda's like, are you the best in the world? That's what I thought. Shut your mouth. I'm like, oh shit, the tiger's coming out. Okay.
I will break your collarbone.
I will. Yeah. Just look at me the wrong way. I'm just looking for the excuse.
Yeah, and I think I did some medical scribing for a little over a year, and I think I mean, you just have to. You really have to have a passion to do that, and I can't see myself dedicating a lot of my time and being able to do powerlifting with that.
No.
So you got to do what you love. So.
No, and Amanda, I am completely joking. I actually think you're in an amazing place right now because there is that.
I get it.
Because there is that ability for you to derive income, to grow a presence, to affect change too. Like where you said the idea, the changing landscape when it comes to powerlifting, or maybe who knows? Like we're gonna get to what you want to do in the future. It's an opportunity. You're very young. It's like I'll put it this way: if a year from now you wanted to make a change, it would be there. But this is encapsulated in a time and place. What you can accomplish in a sport is pretty damn special. So I think that makes sense. And it makes me happy to see, I don't know about you, Eric, because we've been around, we're still waiting, Amanda, for that old man strength. We've heard it's coming. It still seems like it's a ways away. We thought it was going to be there. It's like approaching, but it's not.
30s apparently is too early. So, yeah.
You guys are young guys. Oh,
Look, we're looking
She's
for
been
any
pumping
angle.
us up this whole time. We're young. We're the best lifters in the world. Can we
off?
make her like a third host? I feel amazing.
The triumvirate. But Eric, I'm sure you can agree, man, that I remember a decade ago, forget being, in quotations, an influencer, a content creator, or anything like that. Being an athlete, you couldn't derive a sustainable income a decade ago in any meaningful way. Like you would basically have to moonlight, have some sort of job. So to even hear some of this stuff and maybe what some of your goals and plans are, I think are awesome.
Yeah. No, yeah. Today's totally different, and things are just, growing a lot more. So, but yeah, I have some exciting plans for the future too that I want to try to work towards. So.
Oh, well, you can't just drop hints here on Iron Culture, Amanda. Tell us about your exciting plans for the future to whatever degree you're comfortable.
Well, I have a business that I have in the works. So aside from coaching, so it's tough, like building from the bottom up, like knowing what to do kind of thing. So it's just learning as I go. But that's definitely something that I want to like do in the future kind of thing.
Okay, so secret business plans from Amanda Lawrence. You heard it here first. What did you hear? I don't know, but it's exciting.
It's something.
Folks.
We're the number one gossip channel, Amanda, for lifting. Any lifting related news, however tangential, we will cover it. So we'll be talking about this probably for the next 10 to 20 episodes, trying to discern exactly what that new business is.
Yep.
Purely speculative. Based on no reliable information, but again, we feel confident in our sources.
Yes.
Yeah, so long as you're comfortable with us speculating wildly about what your business is going to be, illegal or otherwise, for the next, and well, basically until it launches and we no longer can, then yeah, I think this will be great for you.
Yeah, it's in the works. I'm thinking of some different ideas, but nothing like set in stone yet, like I said.
I love it. So you mentioned your coaching. You mentioned you have an undergraduate degree specifically in medicine. That's probably helpful, having an understanding of the body. What have you learned as someone who works with other athletes now as a coach? Has that influenced the way you operate now as an athlete? Do you think that's made you a better athlete?
I wouldn't say it's changed anything necessarily. Like, I've obviously learned a lot throughout my time of lifting. Things that work, things that don't, not necessarily just for me, but, with other people too. I've done a lot of research, a lot of trial and erroring, and whatnot. So what I've, learned is what I try to apply over to my athletes. And, if there's ever an issue, I'm the type of person that will research or trial and error endlessly until, we find something that works. And so, we can continue pushing over those barriers and just get stronger. I mean, I become like to the point, like, I guess you could say almost like obsessive, like, just because I want to get better. So.
No, absolutely. I find some of the same attitudes that I apply to my own lifting has definitely helped me be a good coach over time. And I have found it, although it has taken a while for kind of the years to add up, that the more problems I've solved for lifters, occasionally I'll come across something similar for myself and I'll be like, hold the phone.
Oh yeah, I can relate it. Yeah, I can relate it. Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely that, I guess. Yeah, when you put it that way.
Hey, no, yeah, absolutely. So, how much, as far as the experience of, say, like handling a lifter or programming for them versus being an athlete, do they feel distinctly different, or do you get that same hyped up feeling when you're helping someone else achieve their goals that you do when you're achieving your own?
I love to see it. Like, whether it's myself or anyone else, like, victory's a victory. Like, I don't know, it just makes me feel good if I was able to help someone, like do something like that they haven't been able to ever achieve. Like it's just, this feeling's indescribable,
Mm-hmm.
that's why I love doing it, to help share my knowledge and just experiences to just help others and, make them achieve things. But yeah, to me, like, it's all the same. Victory's a victory, like, all exciting.
I love it. So I'm thinking about timing here because I am coming down to writing the last few blocks of training for Bryce Lewis. He's coming into USAPL Nationals. It's earlier than it normally is. This is a little closer to when like Worlds normally is. It's not October. How are you feeling going into the big USAPL Nationals?
I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling healthy now. I feel like, we've been waiting for this moment, right, for a really long time. So I'm just excited to go out there and, I guess make my local meet, a national meet, official meet. But, continue pushing those barriers and continue improving from my previous numbers. At my last meet in November, I hit 564-pound squat, a 287 bench, and a 573 deadlift. So goal is to just try to, keep chipping away up at those. But yeah, I'm feeling really good. Still got to book my flight for there still. But, I'm excited because it's a beautiful place. It's Daytona Beach, right? It'll be nice. I think the venue is the Daytona Beach Ocean Center. So should be a massive, massive venue. But it'll be a different kind of meet this year because I think there's usually like around 1,200 lifters, I think, and we're probably around the 250 athlete mark. So it'll be a little bit different, but I mean, I usually compete in prime time, so I guess in that sense it might feel okay, the same, but definitely a smaller size, but nonetheless still very, very excited that we're having these big meets again. So makes me pumped for it. 5 weeks is going to go by fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot more challenging to have a beach party in Colorado in October with 1,200 people. So what I expect this time, Daytona Beach, a couple hundred people. I want to see like the strongest beach volleyball game of all time after the meet's said and done. That's what I want to see, and I want to see it filmed and put on YouTube. So that's my only request.
So,
oh gosh, you're giving me some content ideas right now.
See?
So
yeah. I've been slacking a little bit on my YouTube channel, but
Hey,
we
I
put
can relate.
some good videos out. We put some good videos out.
Hey, it's all right. Omar is actually right now testing how long you can go without posting on
still
YouTube
be
before the
relevant.
algorithm. Like when you click on upload, it just like you just see YouTube, like a head pops up and just starts shaking. Like, nah, you can't upload. You're done, Omar. Sorry.
Yeah, the count goes to dust. It's like, oh, you posted 10 years in a row, and now you're trying to come back. No comebacks here. You had your chance, kid. Get out of here.
Oh my gosh. That's
Now,
a long time to do YouTube. That's crazy.
yeah,
The editing is the killer. That's the hard part.
that's why I
what
don't do it.
need to.
That's
Yeah,
why I learned.
me neither.
That's why Eric's my fellow hero, because he's pretty much the only other person alongside myself that you could turn on the camera and just talk for 8 to 10 minutes, and it to be coherent, for it to be something actionable, da da da. I developed that because the editing process, not editing, let's say, when it comes to actual film, so it's like you're setting up shots, this and that, but just like the B-roll and all those other aspects, like, it's fine. I don't thoroughly enjoy it. So if you could get it right on the first take, as Eric or myself know, that's that's far better. So that's how that came about.
It's basically taking your talents, resting on your laurels,
Yeah.
and then knowing that you could put out content with one take, but you're just too lazy to do it anyway. So you jump on a podcast to talk to people who you like, and then you call it a business plan. That's essentially Iron Culture right there, and that's why we remain number 3, and 2 and 1 alongside Amanda right now.
1, 2, 3. Now, I was having a visual image, Eric, and it would be remiss if I don't actually mention it. And that is when you said the beach, the volleyball. I'm picturing you and myself, a kind of circa Top Gun. So we definitely have jorts, jean shorts. Now, they're probably a little higher cut than people are used to. So picture like 70s era retro bodybuilding. So they're rough cut. They're not just clipped off. and they're around the mid thigh. And anyways, we're just serving shots of one another. And then at the end, we have a minor animosity because again, we're both trying to vie to be the top gun, but we respect each other's talents. So at the end of the volleyball game, that's very intense. We finally give each other a high five. And yeah, there's a little bit of extra pressure in that high five that we give each other. That's just like, hey, I got you, but I see you too. And that respect only hardens with time. So I think it's going to be great. That nationals.
We love to see it.
Yeah, I think so. Amanda, you're probably the only person because we had the one and only Taylor Atwood on, and
Yes.
Taylor was talking
I saw
about.
that. Yeah.
Taylor's from Florida, unless I'm mistaken. I could be wrong, but he said, yeah, he was, when you said Daytona, I've heard Daytona Beach. I've heard like the Sega game Daytona USA. It's a destination, but he said Daytona, and his reaction was like, yeah, Daytona, where it's being held. So I hope it works out. I don't know if he has secretive knowledge of where the venue is actually being held and what it'll be like. But yeah, I hope it's awesome.
Well, I mean, it looks awesome. It's huge. It's a huge venue. I think it's bigger than any other one that they've had. Yeah, no, I do think Taylor's from Florida too, though. I think he actually, when I used to look up like the Minnesota records, I think he had some. I thought he had some Minnesota records too, though, if I wasn't mistaken at one point in time. So I don't know what that's about. I could be really wrong on that. But now he's a New Yorker, so.
Yeah, he just travels different states setting records. That's just what he does.
Yeah, he's like a traveling record setter. You know?
I'm pretty sure it's been Florida, Minnesota, New York. Because at one point I was wondering if he was from Minnesota.
Well, you know what? He wouldn't know what the records were because he's comes on Iron Culture.
He's so strong.
Yeah, and he I just hit a 750 deadlift. We're pretty sure it was 780, but sure, 750
that
it
was
is.
right after his meet too, I think. Yeah.
Terrible.
It wasn't enough to hit three lifts over 700. You had to get an extra one in there. So
yeah. It's just go on. Sorry.
He's smaller than me too, so that's nuts. I took a picture of them at last round outs and like. You're just jacked, Taylor.
Well, as you just said, not as jacked as you. He's definitely smaller than you. And
no, but I'm not.
No. We know what you meant. That was a straight call out, folks. Yeah. We want to see on that volleyball beach. We want to see on that. So after the volleyball, and no more volleyball. Actually, that volleyball's canceled. We want to see a pose down on Daytona Beach after nationals. You heard it here. He was called out. Amanda Lawrence says, "You ain't got this side chest." That's basically what she said. So
let me just cut to 76 real quick. Lean out a little bit.
Look, just like Taylor, you both of you, where he said, reflecting on 2020 and the inability to compete, where he did a little bit of bodybuilding, and he also once again, the only numbers is it his powerlifting total that he remembers? Certainly not. Is it the size of his guns? Definitely that he could just like that. Like every single day, it's a measurement and it's to the nearest millimeter. So I think we have some true competitors for most yakety yacked at nationals. Question for you, because you're looking forward, and I hope it works out. Okay, we call ourselves realists around here at Iron Culture, but I'm going to be an optimist for you. I hope the venue works out at Daytona. What has been your favorite venue or place or meet to compete at? Because I've heard, as an example, I was actually at the Arnold in 2018. That atmosphere is very good. But as a competitor, do you have a personal favorite in terms of the organizers, how they do it? I don't know if you're it's going to land you in hot water if you say something and like organizers are listening. It's like, how can you say that? We try and make sure all lifters are taken care of. Sheffield, I'm sure, would have been fantastic. Do you have a fond memory or a place that you tend to feel is the best?
So, I mean, meets are different, right? Like nationals, the Arnold, those are like big, like, I don't know, hype meets, I guess you could say. You have the big stage, all the lights, Gino announcing, and then like Worlds, like it was weird because like it felt very like professional environment, like you're there to just do work, get the business, get the job done, kind of quieter sort of thing, like you don't have that loud music and whatnot, which I really loved the Arnold. I've done both the Grand Prix on the big stage in the expo, and then also the, what is it called? The Pro American, or what is it called? The Raw Challenge, one of the two, I can't remember. The Raw Challenge, I think I did. I did that, but I really liked that C pod, like the Arnold, like with the lights, and then I know it's a little bit tight in there, but like it just felt like a really cool environment. Like at the Arnold, like I don't know, the crowd just gets going. Yeah, it's hard. You give me a hard question, and all the meets are different. But yeah, the Arnold's always a fun one. I don't know. I don't know if I'll be like doing that like anymore though. If like with Sheffield, because that's like around the same time in March. So yeah, if that would have happened, I probably would have picked Sheffield for sure.
Yep. Yeah, I think I think it sounds like the showwomanship is a big part of lifting for you. I think it's awesome to be able to display your strength, do what you love in front of a lot of people, have their support. I think that's I know some lifters, and it sounds like you're one of them. Really seem to feel like they get like a performance boost out of that.
Oh yeah. Like when you had that like big crowd, like I remember the last nationals in 2019 that I did, like there were so many people around that you couldn't even see people. Like it was crazy. Like but yeah, like I always say to people like the crowd adds like 10 pounds to your deadlift, like for sure.
Mhm. You know, Omar, I was thinking about some of our prior episodes, and I'm going to dig way back in the crates on this one. When we had Isabella von Weissenberg on with Bryce Lewis way back when to talk about kind of the pressures of social media. And they both have, very much struggled. I mean, obviously, they're both very high performers, and they do well, and they are very good game day performers.
Yep.
But I just find it interesting how different lifters can be, in that if you were to ask Bryce, he likes Raw Nationals, and he does like some of the bigger meets, but his preference is the smaller, kind of more professional, like you said, Amanda. I guess just less stress or social stress to manage kind of worlds. So it's interesting, and I think it's very cool how different personalities express themselves very differently into high performance within powerlifting.
Yeah. I've always been the like loud, hyped up kind of person though. So I'm not afraid to yell or to get going. But yeah, like it's just a like I said, the Arnold and Nationals definitely feel like more of a fun meet, and like for Worlds it feels like more of a serious, like you got to execute kind of meet. So it's definitely different. I wouldn't say like I thought Worlds, they felt like more pressure because it's like, wow, everything's so quiet. Like,
Yep.
I guess we got to go lift 500 pounds in silence. I'm just like yelling out there, and then some people like, I see the comments people write on social media, but like, like I get some bad ones. I'm not gonna lie. People don't like my squats. People don't like the whatever they don't like. I don't know. People like to pick people apart when you're in limelight. But some people say I sound like a dog or something when I'm yelling. But I'm just like, whatever works, man.
You know what? If you sound like a dog, that dog is incredibly strong and very personable, and dogs are amazing. So anyone who would use it,
Like quite a
exactly.
compliment, right?
Yeah, so I want everyone who's listening right now, if you've ever made a comment, and I know it wouldn't be our normal Iron Culture listeners, but two things. If you are listening and you did make a comment that was negative towards Amanda Lawrence, just look in the mirror, and I want you to realize that, one, how dare you? You have better things to do with your life. You're better than this. Look in the mirror, and I want you to say that out loud. And then secondly, I want you to look in the mirror and realize that if you used a dog as an insult, you're probably a terrible person, because dogs are amazing. So
Yes.
yeah, so just just to put them on notice officially from Iron Culture, I expect that will. Yeah, you're never going to get a comment again. So we fixed that for you. If you do get a comment, it was probably a bot and not real. So I wouldn't put anything into those comments from now on.
Yeah. And you actually, I would say, Amanda, your attitude and everything else, I would say, is very well adjusted for the recency of the limelight, because there is that period, right, of where you're exposed not only to your core, so your following, but outside of your following, so to then, the greater USAPL audience, IPF, powerlifting, outside of that, general, like Reddit, fitness, doesn't really matter, right? But your name gets out there. And as you half joked, is that I would say definitely more in particular women lifters, women powerlifters, get just a lot of comments because, hey, it's certainly not a reflection on the individual leaving the comment that potentially, as we joke about, they might feel a little emasculated, insecure. And so they're outwardly manifesting that self in a comment to make themselves feel better, justifiable in what they say because, oh, you sumo. I could do this if I sumo. No, you couldn't. Oh, it's like steroids for another person. We had Jessica Bittner on, and like one of those comments, they start concocting. It starts sounding like the craziest conspiracy theory you've ever heard, where it's like, well, wait a second, she's diabetic, which means she takes insulin, which means it gives her an advantage. I'm like, I don't think you understand how
the
insulin.
Secret TUEs. Yeah.
It's like, wait a second, let's walk this back. Let's actually get into the biochemistry of how this would work and da-da-da. But anyways, the point is that it is part and parcel, I'd say, of having a presence, unfortunately, in the modern age. And it's kind of what you do with it, and then who you attract and how you communicate with them. And then eventually what is cool, there's kind of an internal tribe that develops that I've seen, that then there'll be people not only defending, but just, I would say, a little bit of sanity in some of the comment sections. So it's like, yeah, really, you just sound like a hater. As an example, very quickly, as an aside, I remember 10 years ago when I was first deadlifting on the YouTubes, when I had a YouTube career, Eric, and people would say like,
I watched you way back then.
Oh, well, she said
totally
it. Hey, that was natural.
It was possible to watch him way back then. Yeah.
You were. You helped start my journey.
No. Amanda, that's the soundbite. So myself, Eric, 3DMJ, you turn to the YouTube, blessings on blessings on blessings. I will say that back in, this would be 2011, where I would post deadlifting videos, and there's just, guys just love to talk shit. But it's like, why are you lifting? Like, you're going to snap your back up. So it hadn't become normalized. Powerlifting or doing the strength movements, not only in and of itself to get stronger, if that's what you enjoyed, but using some of those fundamental compound movements as a means of getting a hypertrophic response. So I'd be doing that as like part of my leg day. I'd post like a leg day video, and they're like, you're going to snap your shit up. And that's basically where the Team No Calves originated from, because in 2012, when my deadlift for the time jumped up and whatnot, the number one comment, if someone wanted to talk shit besides you're going to snap your back up, that was like the general one. I'd wear these shorts and they say, nice lift, but you have small calves. Like, genuinely, that wasn't, it's become obviously a joke and everything else, but that's the thing they would pick apart. So you've essentially, you're in that rarefied company. What I'm saying, Amanda, is that you've made it, you're so strong that gym intimidation, when people talk about it, you're intimidating these young boys. That's what's happening.
I hope not.
They're scared they're going to get their collarbones broken. I'm just letting you know.
Listen, no. If they can't handle seeing a video of someone stronger than them, they need that intimidation. They haven't faced enough adversity in life. If they're throwing out elbows too pointy every time someone squats more than them, they need a little. They need it. Yeah. So you're doing them a service. You made them a better human.
Yeah. Well, they're just not used to seeing women being strong. Like, we're changing the game, man. We're on the uprise. But yeah, I usually don't let. I mean, at first, I'd say, like, comments used to, I don't know, bother me, but now it's like, I don't know, it's just more fuel to the fire. Yeah. But seriously, that Team No Calves thing came from your video? Is that what you said?
Oh, yeah. And
that's crazy.
And then
that's
everything
actually,
else.
Like, hilarious. Calves are genetic, though. We all know that.
Well, so Amanda is the ultimate
spoken
booster.
Like a true champion.
We said, like, we're gonna get the old man. So it's like, you guys aren't all, like, anything. It's like, well, calves are genetic, Omar. So like everything else, Amanda, I then monetize it. So then I use the insult, I co-opt it, I redefine it, and then I put it on shirts, and then I make money off of it. So the insult becomes my profit, and we call that capitalism, everyone.
Yeah,
that's right.
I love this. No, that's funny. Yeah, I have that. I probably have bigger calves, but I mean, I don't train cooch. I don't. Like I said, calves are genetic.
The champion mentality apparently doesn't reach into all aspects of training, but that's okay because there's no calf raise yet in powerlifting.
In the jungle,
still petitioning the IPF.
Yep.
Like 1,000-pound calf raise.
Hey, man, that's the best class of lever right there. That's you can lift the big weights with the calf raise. So,
like, snap your foot in half, just trying. Oh my gosh.
See, that's the same attitude they had with Omar's deadlifts back in the day. We just got to normalize 1RM calf raises.
Snap your back.
You're gonna snap your ankles up, dog.
We're the haters in the comments, myself and Amanda. For the people doing that, it's like, you're gonna snap your foot up though.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
It's calf raise shaming. I love it. So, man, we've definitely kept a solid linear podcast going, as we always do, Omar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, Amanda, let me ask you this: what do you enjoy the most out of powerlifting? What aspects of it do you dream about at night? Do they wake you up in the morning with, and that you think about mid training when you need motivation?
Yes. So outside of powerlifting, I dream of Minnesota summers. Yeah, to get out of the cold, the winter. I hate the snow, but Minnesota summers are really, really great. You know, we're a land of 10,000 lakes here. Big on lake life, boat life, camping, fishing, hiking, whatever, all the above outdoors. I'm big on doing that kind of stuff. I'm kind of like, when it comes to like winter activities, like snowboarding and skiing, I try to like, I guess in general, like I try to avoid any like extreme type sports just because you don't want to get injured for powerlifting. So yeah, that's one thing I've definitely found myself being more careful with, like over the last, whatever few years. But yeah, that's usually how I spend my time, is a lot of times up north on the lake.
I love it. And then as far as the aspects of powerlifting that you enjoy the most, what would you say about it? Is it competition? Is it training? Is it actually winning? Or is it... No, I liked your first answer, by the way. I think that was lovely.
It.
That's staying in. We got extra information.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Oh, best part of powerlifting?
Yes.
The meet day, of course. Meet day. Training's way harder than meet day. Having to putting all that work in, and just like sometimes feeling like death leading up to a meet, but got to keep pushing through to hit that peak, right? It's especially humbling when you got 8s on the schedule for squats or whatever, or deadlifts. Those are, I like to say 8s. That's like running a marathon, man. But yeah, no, I definitely think meet day is, I think that'd be a lot of people's favorite, I guess, or I guess ever getting to go for a PR or something. Always have fun with that. Favorite part.
100%. No, I think that's a common experience. So for all of the Excel spreadsheet boys and girls out there listening, talk to me about some of the things that you find work very well for you. What have you found lately, or you with Joey working together has been successful in increasing the lifts, moving the numbers up, and continuing you progressing?
Yeah. So for bench, we actually like I said, I didn't bench very frequently in the beginning, but now we're up to 5 times a week for bench, and upping that frequency has like been everything for my bench. Like now, like, I'll be benching like either at or near the 300-pound mark here in 5 weeks at nationals. But yeah, so bench frequency increasing has been like key. Obviously, the more you do something, the better you're going to get at it. With that being said, it's just not as taxing of a movement. You can't apply that for everything. Like when I used to squat every day, that was actually death. Like it took away from my other lifts then at that point. Like I got really good at squats, but then the other lifts suffered because all my energy was going towards that. Squats right now, we've been sticking with twice a week, and it's been working out really good. It's just because once we've kind of like, because I squat in like the 500-pound range, like after you like get up there at a certain point, it's like your body, you need time to recover, right? Like you can't keep up that same frequency when you're up in that weight zone toward, up there.
I wouldn't know, Amanda, but carry on.
No, yeah. Like I was able to squat
as we all know
before when I mean, no, you're number 3. Yeah, you can.
Thank you very much.
Yes. But no, like I could only ever squat that frequently before when I was like in the, 200-300-pound range, not the light ranges or whatever, the light. I don't know. And I've also like, well, and I guess to just touch on deadlifts, we deadlift twice a week, but I also switched over from percentage-based training to RPE-based training, and that's been huge for me, just because I'm not quite as limited to like one number with percentages, with RPE, I have room to, push it if I need to. If I'm feeling like crap, can take a step back. So that's been huge. And I guess, yeah, like, and just with Joey, just like he's been, like I said, like really on like the things like I need to work on. Like I used to have a massive problem with deadlifts holding grip. And so that's something like he really has helped me like drill in and keep working on. And now, there's no issues with that. Like, I guess for squats, we've switched from heels to flats. And that's been also a gain in strength with that. So I switched about a year ago. And he's just really good too, like helping, like I'm big on, with powerlifting, there's going to be a lot of little injuries here and there. Yeah. Like your cartilage just can't keep up with like the muscle growth or whatever, and the frequency of how much you're lifting and weight wise. So just like I'm big on like finding a lot of workarounds in order to be able to keep on training, just so it can continue to get better, not have to take a massive break. So in that aspect, powerlifting is, I don't know, kind of hurts sometimes, but feeling good leading into nationals.
That's good. So I got two completely unserious comments and then one serious observation. One, so we live stream on TikTok all of our podcasts. Yep. And that's just to keep the TTC, the TikTok crew, happy, because they need to know what's happening right now. And I think most of the time they're dancing and not paying attention. However,
live stream on TikTok.
We have that feature.
Yeah, we have a special feature. Our relationship with China has allowed us to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your connections.
Yeah. We got quote unquote connections, and so I was on there. And when you spoke up about getting close to a 300-pound bench press, there was a TikTok that was thrown up by none other than Jen Thompson, real quick, for getting up and hitting a front double bicep on a bench. So I think she just wanted to assert dominance. But then that was quickly overshadowed by when you said that you switched to RPE, there was a TikTok thrown up by none other than Mike T, where he grabbed his chin in a stroking manner and nodded knowingly. So I just want you to know that you're having measurable impacts. There are waves in the powerlifting community with these revelations you're dropping on us.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. I didn't even know of these.
Yeah, this is happening on the very, very real live Iron Culture TikTok stream. Yeah, live time. That's what it's called, folks.
Yes.
That's our internal app we've been developing.
First.
Oh yeah.
But in all seriousness, actually, one thing that there are very few generalities that you can state about specific programming techniques in powerlifting. You'll notice that for every lifter, there's a unique solution, and some people will state the exact opposite for what helped them get to a far level. But I would go as far to say that if someone can handle, and it doesn't cause them any shoulder or elbow issues or neck issues, high frequency benching, it almost always seems to be a beneficial strategy. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people who have been stuck on bench, and benching more frequently has been a solution. So I just find that interesting. You've bolstered that anecdote in my mind even further, and I'm pretty soon going to have to put out the bench twice a day program by Eric Helms.
Twice a day. Twice a day. I thought you said twice a week at first.
Oh no, twice a day, Amanda. We're not playing around here.
Twice a day, thrice a week.
Yeah, we're not going back to this twice a week benching nonsense that they did for the last 20 years. It's the future only from here on out.
Yes. I'd be so sore 14 times a week.
Hey, it's just we got to catch up to those Olympic lifters. They're training far too often, making us look bad.
Whatever gets you to the finish line, right?
Hey.
That's right. So I love that you spoke about kind of programming frequencies and volumes and how much you can handle. Have you found that there's any specific lift variations that you like to incorporate, or are you primarily like a comp lift version lifter for the most part?
Variations, I do. So I'm a primarily sumo and low bar squatter. But my variations, I typically do high bar, conventional deadlifts. I don't get super fancy with, I sometimes do like safety bar squats, but I don't get like super fancy with, I guess other variations, like with those fancy, I don't know, like buffalo bars or anything like that. Like I'll do, I'll do a lot of belt squat machine. I think that's super beneficial, or like hack squat. For bench, yes, I do a lot of different variations for that. I do a lot of close grip, or like Larson's, sometimes like Spotos, but I mean, like, or like flat dumbbell press or something like that, or incline too. But I don't do like any of those, like if you're asking like the chain or band, like that kind of thing, I don't do that. No.
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was just very curious about what, if any, different kinds of variations of the main lifts you did, or even stuff that's out there. But it sounds like Louis Simmons will not be appeased on this podcast today. No accommodating resistance. Sorry, West Side. You're just not getting to be a part of this champions.
I will
mix.
say they make a good reverse hyper machine though. West Side.
West Side for life, folks. Throw it up. So
yeah, I have a foldable one that I got from my garage gym. It's actually great.
Oh, that's pretty cool. They have foldable reverse hypers now?
Yeah, you should look it up. It was only like $350 too for it. But yeah, because like those like actual reverse hyper machines are just monstrous.
Oh yeah.
And I don't have that kind of space. Well, I mean I could, but who wants to waste all that space on that? So just get the foldable one. It's great. It's great. Just look it up.
And so it operates pretty well. There's no downside in the performance to it being this foldable $350 version.
No, it's fairly sturdy. I mean, I'm not gonna I'm not putting a ton of weight on a reverse hyper. Don't get me wrong. But I don't. yeah, like throw out your back or something like that. Break your back. No, but yeah, no, it works. It does its purpose for sure.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do a ton of leg accessories, to be honest, because other than belt squat, just because I mean, you're hitting legs already so often with squat and deadlift every week, and you have to obviously work on your weaknesses. It's going to depend on the person. If obviously you're I don't know, more of a newbie lifter, yeah, you could probably beneficial from a lot more leg work, accessory work to build that base.
I love it. I think it makes a lot of sense. You're focusing on the bench. That's what you want to bring up the most. You're coming for Jen Thompson. She's not scared. She's actually trying to intimidate you on TikTok still.
But she weighs what is she, 132?
Hey, she doesn't care. She you know what she says? Despite the fact that she's in the 132s, she says there's no weight class in the jungle. She wants to outbench everybody. You come at 300, you're coming at her. That's just her attitude.
That's actually crazy. For me, if I had to if I somehow could make 132 or something like that, I feel like I'd have to either pick muscle upper body or muscle lower body to make the weight class. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you'd probably have to remove either your quadriceps or hamstrings to get down there.
Just cut off a leg. Yeah, no, she's an incredible bencher. I don't know how she does it. But we all have our specialty lift,
Yeah, Miss Frizzle is out there. Big shout out Jen Thompson. In all seriousness, huge respect for her as a lifter and a human. But yeah, I think it's been really awesome to talk to you, Amanda. I greatly appreciate your perspective, you making the time for us. Omar, I'm going to kick it to you. Are there any other questions you have for our illustrious champion?
No, I actually think we did cover a lot. We got into the origins, we got into the accomplishments, we got into the future, we got a little bit now into the training methodology. We got to incorporate my favorite topic, which are jorts, jean shorts, on Daytona. And we're going to see that pose down, I would say the salient points would be...
T. Atwood, I'm coming.
So you heard it right here, folks. T. Atwood,
T.
I'm
Atwood.
coming. At first, she gave some kind of humble indication that, oh, no, we're just going to play volleyball. We're homies.
No.
And maybe it'd be mixed pairs. No, folks. Mixed pairs be damned. This is a call-out. Taylor Atwood.
Straight call-out.
You are on notice. On notice.
And it's hard to pick on because, Taylor's my boy. We also we're both advocating for each other for a hair sponsorship from Head and Shoulders. So I can't talk shit against him. I'll just say that we discovered that Amanda's ready to shatter his collarbone, and that we three are at the top at the triumvirate of the pyramid. So I feel so much has been accomplished here that it's perfect just to leave it off on that highest of high notes once again, right up there.
Yeah.
Well, Amanda, I think one other thing that you also added to this episode was you hinted at something happening that was so vague and mysterious that I don't even know
doing
how
something.
to recap it. Something's happening, and you're going to be doing it, and that's all we know. But I know people are at the edge of their seats, and
Gotta
I'm looking
keep people
forward to
on
it.
their toes, man. You know, you never know what's coming. Like I said, just getting started. I'm trying
It's true.
to pave my way in this fitness industry that we're in and make
Good for
my
you.
mark on it. And
for
everyone's got to know my name. Everyone knows your guys' name, so I'm just trying
Hey.
to follow
Hey.
your guys' footsteps.
These are the sound bites we need, Eric. Everybody knows your guys' name. That's Iron Culture right next to it.
And where everyone knows your name. I love it.
A little tune with it, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Throwback to Cheers.
Cheers.
Absolutely. So leaving her mark in the industry with something, folks. You heard it here. You heard it first. All the hot
Something's
goss.
coming.
Something's coming. I don't
Something's
know
coming.
if it's, it could be a new version of Play-Doh. It could be, protein Hot Pockets. It could be supplement company. It could be...
You're giving all your ideas away, man.
Suntan lotion, Daytona Beach.
That's right. Suntan lotion. IPF approved. WADA approved. Suntan lotion. Yep.
The marketing ad starts.
Bright lights on the platform.
That's right.
You've probably run into this situation before. But
Yeah,
you want
no,
to get a
seriously,
tan.
it is so difficult, like, with the fitness industry right now, just because the market is just, I feel like it's so saturated. Like, even just like, not even from a business, like a product side of things, but just like, even from a content side of things, like, trying to, like, get big on YouTube now, like, very tough. Like, I need help, Omar.
I'm there for you.
Yeah.
You guys should check out my channel. Just type in my name, Amanda Lawrence, on YouTube. And I'm going to try out some more videos
So,
soon.
yeah, I'll tell you the first thing you probably got to do would be change the thumbnails and the titles, make them a little catchier. So the next one would be, I'm going to smash Taylor Atwood's collarbone.
Collarbone, yeah.
Then
People
the
would watch
follow-up
that.
video, you got to say response to Taylor Atwood, you don't want this smoke. And then the third video probably be final response, seriously, you're dead, T. Atwood, where you at?
Bro, we're going to go like boxing now, aren't we?
So we're going anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I know two highly successful strongman competitors who have made the very intelligent and respectable switch to fighting each other. That I could only see that being a benefit to everyone. Another great idea would
When
be
is Thor and Eddie fighting?
I
You guys
think
know?
fall. And who's the winner? Anyone? Everyone? No one? Who's to say?
No, seriously, who do you guys think is going to win? I don't know. Thor? I don't know.
He's got reach. So
Yeah, that's true. But he's looking lean. I think I saw a video. He said he lost like 50 kilos.
that's just basically him using the bathroom once in a day. So I don't know how much.
That's morning weight. Yeah.
Yeah, that's either one of those guys. That's just skipping lunch. So it's very difficult to gauge this on their scale.
Hey, I feel like it's better than the YouTube boxing. I mean, you've got some actual strongman guys in there. It should be interesting.
There's some levels to
They
this.
might be a little slower, maybe, but I mean, I'm sure the punches are hard if they hit them.
Yeah, I could see some very slow, lumbering, hard punches that may or may not impact. And if the bar is videos of people fighting on YouTube, I think it's above that. I think we can give them that much. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Another idea for your YouTube channel you want is just make a video that says, "Am I natty?" ? And then it literally doesn't matter.
I don't know why.
Where people are like, "Are you natty or not?" Is like so and so natty or not? It's like, I don't know. I can't even tell you how many drug tests I've taken. Like,
well, as we know, powerlifters spend most of their time learning just how to beat drug tests.
Pharmacology.
That's
I can tell you, I know nothing of that.
Oh, really, Amanda? Biomedical degree. Okay. Sounds sciencey enough.
I don't. I am the most oblivious person in that stuff. I know nothing.
That's exactly what someone would say, Amanda, if they were secretly a lab chemist on gear. So, unfortunately, we we just can't platform that kind of nonsense here on Iron Culture. We know the truth. It's all
Yeah.
a huge conspiracy.
Oh,
The great
man.
news I'll say is that the great thing about conspiracies is that you could shape it any which way to justify what you think. So no matter what you say, we've already made up our mind. So as Eric and myself often say here, we already have the conclusion. We work our way back, and we find the clues necessary so that when we return to said conclusion, it all fits together. That beautiful jigsaw puzzle.
And that's the way science is done, folks.
Thank you.
Straight facts.
All right. But in all seriousness, do tell us more. Where can people find you if they are curious about finding out this mysterious thing you're going to be launching soon?
Just follow me on my Instagram at Miss Amanda Ann. That'd be probably the main one. And then my YouTube. I'm not really big on Twitter. I just can't really get with it. Can't get with it. I mean, TikTok, I have one of those, but it's not big. So mostly Instagram then.
Love it. Instagram, YouTube. I would definitely advise, if you pay off the right people in China, getting on that TikTok live. That live wire, whatever we called it a few minutes ago, that it definitely exists. Because it's where it's going down. But Amanda, let me just say thank you so much for all your time, your insights, and we wish you the best. I can't wait to see you hit the platform at Raw Nationals. I think it's going to be a very cool meet, and I know that everyone will be just chomping at the bit to get back to it.
Yeah. It's going to be a good one. Super excited. I appreciate you guys having me on. It was a good chat.
Amanda, thank you so much. And we want to also thank everyone for listening, for making it all the way to the end. And they know what to do, because the only number we care about around here would be the rating and review you leave on iTunes. It is a free market. As such, it means that you could leave whatever rating you want, but we are lobbyists for Iron Culture, which means that you should be leaving 5 stars. And again, that's also allowed in a free market. So do what you want, leave the rating and review. Go ahead and leave a comment on YouTube, because we're looking for that hot gossip. We're looking for the next business, the viable strategy that Amanda will be doing. That's probably waterproof suntan lotion, which is honestly, it's a multi-billion-dollar idea that we're just giving it away to the people. So get ready for us to sue the pants off of anyone that pursues it. And we'll catch you every single Monday in that next episode.